So, as you probably know, I had the opportunity to sit down with David Jaffe, and he had some strong words of praise for Xbox and some pretty negative words about the state of Xbox and where they are currently. I thought I would clip that out and share it with you right now. So, here's what he said about what Xbox does best and what they do worst. Speaking of Xbox, what do you think that they have done terribly, and what have they done the best in the last few years?
Game Pass, again, all Game Pass is it's like, when Uber first got big and everybody was like, it's Uber, but that whole cliche. It's like, it's Uber, but it's for pickles, or it's like, okay. But there's nothing clever about Game Pass other than they just did it. I mean, one could argue that Game Tap got there before Game Pass did. I'm sure there were some, but the fact that with the resources Microsoft has, they said, we want to make Netflix for gaming. Totally simple. But then they're also going like Netflix, we want to take our war chest and we want to spend a lot of money to make sure that if you are on this service, you are going to get, like, if you look at the number of studios they own and deals they have, they are capable, forget all the third-party stuff that they put out every 2 weeks on Game Pass. Exclusive titles, they are capable. They own 23 studios right now. They're about to get a whole bucket list more. Mm-hmm. They are capable of having not as robust a cadence as Netflix, but you could be turning on your Game Pass every 2 to 6 weeks with that number of studios, depending on how they break it up. And you could be getting, it may not be a game you love, but you could be getting a real double to triple A game every 2 to 6 weeks that you can't get anywhere else. I think the idea is brilliant, especially when you merge it with the resources of a company like that, right? Mm-hmm. That's been the best thing they've done. The two things that they've just shat the bed on is, I don't understand why they can't seem to manage their teams very well. I understand why maybe people in place. I don't know Matt Booty. He seems like a really nice guy. I've seen interviews with him. I'm like, I'd like that guy if I knew him in real life. But I don't know Sarah Bond. I don't know where the sticky widget is. Other than I know it's Phil Spencer in the sense that he runs the joint and he should be looking at these people and saying, no, get somebody else in there because you don't launch hardware with no software. Or you don't go into a Christmas with an anemic lineup. Or you don't delay games over and over and over and over. Or if you do, you better make sure there's something to give the audience in the meantime. Their ability to manage product development is embarrassing. And it's doubly embarrassing because the people who know how to do it are out there. And if you're going to go spend $68 billion on a company, or you're even going to spend $200 million on a single team, in San Francisco, and you don't also with that go out and hire one of these great people, whether it's third party or more specifically poach somebody from Sony first party that knows how to do this, what are you doing? So I think that's their biggest failure right now. Their other one is, I don't think they have made their marketing statement yet. Maybe they're waiting for Call of Duty, but for me, and I know not a lot of people go into GameStop anymore, but let's just assume you walked into a store to buy your shit. I know it's getting less and less, but you can, the concept still works. But imagine, 10 years ago when GameStop was where you went to get this stuff, and you walk in at Christmas time and you're a parent or you're a kid or you're an adult who just doesn't have tons of money or doesn't want to spend tons of money. And it's like Call of Duty, there's like boxes all in a picture. I see it. It's like Call of Duty and Starfield and this and that, like 20 games. And then they're also all on PlayStation. And it's like, to play these on PlayStation, it would cost you, $685. Mm-hmm. To play it on Xbox, $15. I mean, just that point, I don't think has been hammered home enough, that the fact, because I think the value is staggering and core gamers talk about it, mm-hmm. but I don't think that's out in the marketing zeitgeist of people beyond core gamers. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen it in a way that I think they should be going, they should have their marketing taking people's heads by hands and going, look at this. Yeah. That's how compelling it is, because their value proposition is as compelling as that. It deserves to be looked at, but I don't think they've shouted from the mountain well, is what I'd say.
How are you feeling about Xbox in 2023 and beyond, and PlayStation in 2023 beyond as separate brands? I'm not talking about Nintendo because
beyond. What do you mean?
Well, like 2023, 2024 into the future.
Well, again, to be fair, I'm privileged and I'm aware it's a privileged position that I don't think much about it like that because I have everything. Right. So I don't really care what happens to Xbox or PlayStation. I mean, I'm like, games aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So I was a kid in the 80s and the industry crashed, but the industry didn't crash. The games industry did not crash. The arcade industry crashed and the home console market crashed. PC games were in all over the place. You were never without the ability to play on your Apple or your IBM or whatever you had. So as somebody who puts games ahead of company loyalty, like a company's loyal to you, why in this day and age in 2023, anybody is loyal to a company beyond what they can do for you right now, I don't know, because they certainly have made it clear they don't give a shit about you, whether you're an employee or a customer. So, but that's a different conversation, probably a different show. So for me, I'm just like, I don't really think about PlayStation as a brand or Xbox as a brand. But if I did, I would say right now it's the same as it ever was, which is if somebody came to me and said, what would you buy? I say the same thing. I say, if you really love these first party PlayStation games, if that's the kind of, and there are people out there that's everything to them. They have their sound systems, their big TVs. They want the very best graphics. They want the very best production value. And I don't, shame them for that. I respect that that's the kind of gamer they are. And if they own that, you don't want to be anywhere but PlayStation because they do the best technologically. They do the best production value, on and on and on. But if that's less what motivates you and you could only have one, I would go with Xbox. Even if they don't get their first party management together, even if they don't get the deal, because every 2 weeks I get anywhere from 1 to 8 games. Some are really tiny indie and sometimes they're really big and some are brand new and some are from a year ago. That there's always 1 to 8 that I'm like, I want to play that. Mm-hmm. So assuming nothing changes, I would go with Xbox because I value that more than production value. But I would still miss the Sony games. So the state of them right now is nothing has really changed in the last couple of years. Sony's still doing what they've done. Xbox is clearly doubling down. I'd like to think that in the future, the next couple of years, you will start to see the fruits of these games as a service. Like we already know that the Naughty Dog came out this week and said that The Last of Us Factions or whatever they end up calling it is going to be their next thing. Mm-hmm. There looks to be a summer showcase from Sony probably before E3 where I assume it's going to be Spider-Man. Sadly, tragically, the PS5 Pro announcement. But I also think that's when they're going to say, here's what's up with Factions. Comes out in November. This is what you do. There's a beta coming in August, blah, blah, blah. So I'm excited to see that in the next couple of years. There are a couple games of service. And with Xbox, I'm excited. I'm excited for Redfall. I'm excited for Starfield. Even if they don't get Call of Duty and all that, I'm excited to see what Schaefer does next. I'm excited. I loved Wasteland 3 from an Exile on Game Pass, right? They're making a brand new IP Western RPG. So there's more variety over on Xbox right now. I'm all in if I had to choose. So I feel good about both, but based on what I like, I'll go Xbox. But based on my privilege, I don't have to make a choice. Thank God. Microsoft is the Ike Turner of video games. And I know you're probably too young to even know what I'm talking about.
I think I know it. I don't think it's a good comparison.
It's not. Tina Turner is great talent. Ike Turner was a great talent. They had a group together, but he was very dominating and he was very abusive. And he kept saying, I won't hit you anymore. Come on back. I won't hit you anymore. Every time she came back, she got the shit beaten out of her until finally she was like, this guy's a nightmare.
Yeah.
If I have to hear one more, this is the year. Trust me, it was bad last year, but it's gross. It's not even a meme anymore. Now it's just like a poster for, abused people in relationships. It's like, if you go to somebody who's being abused tragically, and I'm not making a joke about it, it's tragic. It's like if you go to them and you say, you are an Xbox gamer and your abuser is Phil Spencer. Like that's the, Phil Spencer is your abuser as you are to Xbox. Trust me, it won't happen again. It happens every time. I don't know. I'm tired and I don't know if that analogy landed. I don't care because sometimes you just have to take chances. You understand, Destin?
I get it.
You have to go out. Yeah, you got it. Come on now. But what I'll say though is, yeah, I mean, I'm just tired of that excuse, and enough is enough. But end of the day though, just like with Sony does stuff I don't like. I still buy Sony.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Cancel Game Pass? No. It's the best deal in gaming.
Hey, if you like that, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell. Half of you aren't subscribed, so think about it. Just saying, if you like it. Anyway, thank you so much to the members for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you. If you want to see the whole thing without ads or just any of my videos without ads, you can click that join button just to support at whatever level you want. And that's what I do to reward you. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, hit that join button. If you want to see the Michael Pachter interview, which we referenced during the Jaffe interview, you can do so right there. Bye for now, everybody.